Dredging through these cursed halls is little Bruce Lee. He may not know it yet, but he's gonna be the world's best martial arts master. First, he has to face his fears. By that I mean this demonic soldier. Wake up and smell the eggs. That was all Lee Hoi-chun's dream. As Bruce's father, of course, he has to make sure his son is okay. Once that's out of the way, it's time for little Bruce to head on to training. His trainer is none other than the legendary Ip Man. Even though he's a kid, he trains so vigorously. In fact, he trains for many years to come, not so little anymore. Bruce dances his way into adulthood. No, literally. This is the Festival of the Lantern after all. But here comes the problem of the world. White people. These sailors rudely crash the party, and one of them even forces this girl to dance with her. Luckily, the hero of the story arrives. It's Bruce Lee. He makes quick work of the grunts, but this egghead wants him solo. Round 1 begins and he just punts him around. To add insult to injury, he takes him to cha-cha, then bowls himself a strike. Of course, Bob doesn't play fair and grabs a knife from his mates. Aha, but Brucey boy has come prepared with this chain weapon. He easily disarms him, kicks his white tushy to the buffet, and gets the girl. Of course, like all young adults, this was all a game of hooky. Bruce tries to sneak back to his home, but his father catches him. He says the popo was here looking for him because of the assault. But hey, they started it. Nonetheless, it's scolding time. Turns out there's a bigger trouble because Bruce's father says he has to leave Hong Kong forever. Apparently, it's because of some superstition about a demon about to hunt down his own son. So here's Ho-chun's plan, to send him to America.
You have to leave Hong Kong.
He shows him his birth certificate, and with a name and money like that, who could say no? With that out of the way, off he goes sailing. Brucey is so excited for America, he can't help but feel fidgety about it. So he shows his random passenger his excitement.
Not a Chinaman's chance. They say that too.
Sadly, this guy can't help but feel pessimistic, and for good reason too. Basically, there's insane discrimination in America. I guess some things never change. Bruce still holds his head up high. When Bruce finally gets to America, however, he's reduced to a dishwasher. At least he still gets the ladies, like April over here. Of course, Mr. Ho doesn't take too kindly to this. At least his name is on point. Miss Yang here, the boss, makes sure everything is in tip-top shape, however. Despite being in white man's land, Bruce is still diligent about his martial arts. He balances that, his job, and even studies in his free time. Then he uses April as a sort of study break. He and April's relationship doesn't go too well thanks to Mr. Ho, and a fight breaks out. It's Bruce versus 4 angry, bladed chefs. To know why they're helping out Mr. Ho, maybe they're part of the No Riz Club. Despite their combined efforts, they utterly struggle against the high-flying dexterity of Bruce. But Mr. Ho eventually lands a cheap shot on him. This angers Bruce, and he lets out the fury. Surprisingly enough, Mr. Ho is no easy target. Unsurprisingly, he cowers in fear once Bruce overpowers him. Miss Yang then steps in and tells his idiot kitchen staff to finally fix up their act.
Back inside, all of you, come on!
Miss Yang later then calls for Bruce, and she's splitting him some cash. Someone's gonna get fired. But it's not to say Miss Yang gives her some good advice. Either go to Bone Town on April and go broke, or actually invest in education. Education it is. Bruce is looking mighty fine with that suit. Of course, the Giga Chad workout doesn't go away. Another thing that doesn't go away is white people doing white people stuff.
You mind, Jim? Don't touch me.
Mainly bullying any other race on the planet, Joe here is really the rancid rat of the bunch, but Bruce uses him as a ploy for this workout routine. Hey, buddy, I think you got the wrong door. The shoe strip show is 2 blocks down. Well, Joe's about to show him who's boss of this gym, but Bruce is no jabroni. He's just too dang agile. Even Joe's lackeys join, but this isn't Bruce's first rodeo. What an embarrassing display. Bruce exits, but Benny Salas and Tad Overton come in peace. They actually want to learn, but Bruce ignores them. That's until Tad just won't shut up, while Bruce makes him during practice. He even teaches some other guys how to flow like water.
You like the nature of water?
Class is over, but Linda Emery here is interested in this class. Looks like Bruce still got game. Friday class comes in, and Bruce teaches the guys and Linda to be at one with their emotions when fighting. It's too easy to give in, so be careful. Enough talk, time to spar. Linda is surprisingly a good learner, and she topples Bruce fast. Of course, Bruce uses this position to flirt. He asks her out, and who wouldn't fall for a stud like Bruce?
Linda and me, I guess. Come, Lily.
It's the night of the date and Linda gets picked up by her friend Sherry. Linda's actually really eager for this date, but man, someone needs to shut Sherry up. Pure garbage is coming out of her mouth. Eventually, Linda arrives at this fancy restaurant and Bruce is looking swell as well. The two are ready to have a great time, but man, the discrimination here is rampant. The couple settles for the bar, then Bruce talks about what he plans to do in the future. Then he gets a bit heated. That's thanks to this knobhead who won't let him take a seat because he's a different race.
I'm sorry, I don't have a table right now.
Typical America. Let's go somewhere else. Bruce and Linda have a good time on their date. In fact, they go to another one. This time it's a movie date and the movie paints Chinese people in a bad light. Well. One day, Bruce takes Linda to this ransacked studio. Apparently, this is gonna be the institute where Bruce will teach martial arts. It needs a little fixing up, but Bruce remains confident. So they celebrate by, you know what? It's not important. Eventually, Bruce Lee's Kung Fu Institute grows and grows. Heck, even Linda begins to solidify her training. Looks like it's looking pretty bright for Bruce, but he still needs to do some schoolwork. But something's in the wind. A gust tears through his apartment, and an armored figure with a naginata slowly comes out. Bruce tries to fight him, but he's swiftly thrown away. Don't worry, it's all but a schizovision. Of course, this kind of burns Bruce out. Then he wonders when will Linda come clean to her parents that she's seeing someone Chinese. So they go to see Vivian Emery, Linda's mother. Let's cut to the chase. Vivian is a horrible and xenophobic mother. Despite their polite discussion,
How will you live?
I'm opening a school in Oakland.
you can't help but think Vivian should be shoved into an urn. Bruce storms off, and despite her mother's wishes, so does Linda. Much time passes and Bruce comes back to that old restaurant he used to work in. He gives Miss Yang the loaned money from long ago, and it looks like he's getting hitched.
All-purpose loan.
The couple even gets their own place eventually, but someone's at the door. This is Jerome Sprout. He wants some lessons, so Bruce is happy to give them. They get down to business immediately. Bruce's students are really budding out, but they soon get an ominous message. Bruce immediately goes to the source, which is a shady restaurant. These old farts don't want Bruce teaching martial arts to anyone who isn't Asian. In fact, these senile mongrels think other races are the enemy. Bruce doesn't see it that way, but this idiotic council still disagrees. If he doesn't stop, then they'll resort to mortal combat.
They are not the enemy.
Of course, Bruce really can't tell his wife, but here we are. Jerome comes along, then Bruce faces the challenge. Enter Johnny-san and Luke-san. Even Jerome wants him to bail, but Bruce will challenge this bigotry. The two combatants take their stance, then they warm up. The green light is given and fight! Johnny goes on the offensive, but Bruce scopes him out at first with dodges and deflects. Once he's figured it out, it's time to let fists fly. That's a lot of damage, so Johnny takes his A game out. He's got some dirty moves, but Bruce doesn't stay down.
Don't give up!
In fact, he grapples Johnny down and makes him submit. Bruce is the victor, and those old morons can kiss it. That's until Johnny's son lets out an underhanded flying kick. A man with no honor. Tisk tisk. Looks like Linda already found out. Dr. Arlo here shows her how Bruce is doing in his medical machine. After signing some papers, Linda goes and meets Bruce, but he's not too happy.
Take a good look at me, Linda.
In fact, he's probably at the darkest corner of his life. Bruce doesn't see himself worthy to be Linda's husband, but she disagrees. She's here for better or worse. Worse it is because Bruce shouts her out. This isn't the end, because later in the night, Linda comes back. Now, that's a dedicated wife. She's here to write down all of Bruce's ideas about Kung Fu. Since he's not going anywhere, might as well start now. Also, Linda has Bruce's baby. Bruce finally speaks up about his Kung Fu philosophies, with every intelligent line written. Time passes. More and more. Bruce heals his wounds. Soon, he's free from his hospital bed. He still might be in a wheelchair, but who can ever miss their own son's birth? This little tyke will be known as Brandon. From that moment on, Bruce stood up for the first time in forever. It's a miracle, y'all. One new hairstyle later, Linda excitedly brings Bruce the good news.
Bruce, come here. Hey!
His book is finally published, and it looks like a real page-turner. Some more news comes, and it's Vivian. What a party pooper. Linda doesn't want her around, but Bruce is actually kind enough to let her in. And on the turning point of things, Vivian comes around when baby Brandon finally melts her frigid heart.
You did good, sweetheart.
Things are turning out for the better because not only has Vivian accepted Bruce's heritage and race, but he himself begins to work out again. But things don't always stay peachy. Later in California, Bruce gets mostly booed by the crowd because of the absurdity of his martial art, Jeet Kune Do. Linda and Jerome see the crowd's displeasure. Then they chant to force Bruce to prove the worthiness of his fighting style. Heck, he even claims he can beat any man under 60 seconds with his formless martial art.
I need someone to prove it all.
Look what the cat drags back in. It's the Sun brothers. Johnny claims to have beaten him, but shut up and get in there, Johnny. Of course, Linda doesn't want to witness Bruce's pain again, but it's time to make this rat pay. The bows are set, and it's rematch time. The two are toe-to-toe, but Johnny's really a dirty rat. He strikes at Bruce's back again. Bruce lets the dragon out and kicks his teeth in. Bruce, it's not looking good. One more flying kick, and he's out of the ring. The rat is no more, and that was under 60 seconds too. See, now the crowd chants for him. Bill Krieger here talks to him about TV since he's a producer.
I'm casting my new series. It's called The Green Hornet.
This might sound familiar, but have you heard of the Green Hornet? Let's fly to the studio, and Bruce is getting his first acting gig. He's getting a rundown of what he's going to act out, and it looks simple enough. Already, some of the dudes here don't like his Oriental heritage, but let's just get into action. Roll the cameras, and holy smokes, Bruce, playing as Kato, makes quite the entrance. He smashes everyone and everything. Cut, wrap, that was a print. The camera loves him, and so does Bill. So he and Bruce talk about a pitch, but this time, it's a movie pitch. A movie with a lot of kung fu.
Kung Fu!
This is gonna be a hit. Actually, even before that, it looks like Bruce and Linda are already getting well off. They both arrive at Bill's big estate, and Bruce is finally tasting some of that high life. This party is absolutely banging. Adding to this celebration, Linda reveals she's got another bun in her oven. Bruce is a lucky man. Bill suddenly makes an announcement, and he says Green Hornet is canceled. Happens to all of the good shows, to be honest. Regardless, Bruce does what Bruce Lee does best, keep his head high.
And what's they gonna get Mickey Rooney?
I hope these overdue bills won't be a problem to Bruce because they sure are beginning to plague his home. Linda's worried, but Bruce talks to the network about his career. Soon, Linda and Bruce watch his established movie. Then he gets a call. It's grim news, but Bruce's father has passed away. Making it to Hong Kong, Bruce finds himself at the cusp of his father's funeral. He weeps as he says farewell to his father. Soon, the demon that haunts him begins to resurface time and time again. So Bruce asks for some help from the only man who can help him, Ip Man. Ip Man gives him some advice, and he's proud that Bruce has come a long way. Ip Man then says that the real demon is the inner fear we met along the way.
When the monsoon blows, be prepared.
He has to defeat it, or it will plague his future generations. Bruce then makes his way back to the ship. Then these suits suddenly rush in to find him. Finally, Philip Tan finds him. He's a producer, and you could tell where this is going. Philip says his Green Hornet character Kato is actually beloved here, so they already have something to work with. Then Philip begs him to stay in Hong Kong for just one more day to talk business.
One more day, please. You can't lose.
So Bruce's next motion picture, The Big Boss. It looks like Bruce is sold on the movie because he's the lead on it now. Here, he ad-libs a fight scene. The directors don't know what's going on, but man, is this footage good. Keep rolling, boys. This is a god-tier fight scene. Bruce and the Asian Guild duking it out in this icy factory. These are some realistic fight scenes because all of it is real. Bruce then breaks the footage, and what was that for? Ah, well, at least he comes home to a surprise, his wife and kids. They soon hail back home, then The Big Boss premieres. It's a full house, but everyone else seems to have a blank expression on their faces. Hold the phone, it's just the tearful applause setting in. Now that's Kino. Bruce gets his standing ovation, but Linda gets dragged away into the crowd. Looks like Bruce has a hit on his hands because the citizens of Macau are going wild. This success cements Lee's warranted stay in Hong Kong. Looks like even little Brandon is catching some years in. Thanks to that first movie, Bruce then works on some more movies. Also thanks to his success here in Hong Kong, Bill is here for a visit. He's here to discuss a certain project. Enter the Dragon. It's gonna be a Hollywood feature. Bruce heads home and thinks about it, but Linda isn't too happy. Turns out all the movie business is keeping Bruce too busy from being a father.
I want the kids to have a father again.
Linda wants to go home to America with the kids, but thanks to the rampant xenophobia, Bruce thinks otherwise. In fact, Bruce is really sick of it all. This is why America can't keep nice things. Bruce is outraged, but amazingly, he makes a sound decision. He talks to Philip about Bill's offer to collaborate with them. This could be big because of the international market, but Philip says they don't need the Westerners. Bruce is feeling pretty stressed about everything, so he asks for a bit of aspirin. Bruce then says that he doesn't want to keep pushing his family away, and Enter the Dragon could be the ticket to his way back there.
If I lose them, nothing means anything.
So the shooting of Enter the Dragon starts. The scene is set, but a freak earthquake rumbles Bruce's scene. Being dredged back to the schizo zone once more, Bruce slowly makes his way around through the maze of mirrors. The demon is back to haunt him. His fears have become incarnate, and it terrorizes him. He has a hard time with this inner demon, but Brandon is there. This is where he takes a stand and finally fights the demon head on. This guy is so toast because Bruce has his mitts on some nunchucks. With some devastating blows and a choke to boot, he finally conquers his fears. Snap back to reality. He walks out of the chute. It's finally time for him to spend some much needed time with the kids. It's time for the last shot of Enter the Dragon. This is Bruce's shining moment, so it's time for him to bid Linda a goodbye for now. Safe to say, the film was a success. But 3 weeks later, Bruce passed away. Never mind how he passed, but people will always remember this legendary martial artist. Make sure to bow because that was Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. Starring Jason Scott Lee, Lauren Holly, and Robert Wagner. Which was your favorite Bruce Lee movie? Let us know at the comments below using #CinemaRecap, and we'll see you with the next Kung Fu Beatdown.